And welcome to Driven by Youth with Jada. I am joined by Brandon Fortino today. Woo!
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Excited.
thanks for coming.
Love the
So
name.
first question. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's I I wanted to make it something where it's like, okay, well, I feel like I'm young. And then my mom, who has a nonprofit, and she works with a lot of teens, like ages 14 through 24, kind of. So I was like, well, I'm just surrounded by the youngins. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well. I'm on the same boat too. So I'm glad to see other people that are, kind of like you're in your 20s.
23.
I'm the same age. I'm 23 too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dude, let's
making
go.
moves, making moves.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is I think I was watching like Mother or Friends or something before, and I was like, oh my God, they're 24, they're 25. And they seem like they're like 30s where they're solid on their career and on life and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I
I
don't
think
feel like
that's part of the this why like social media is so great. I feel like you get to learn from all these people. Like the knowledge you have is getting smaller and smaller, which is awesome.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
so first question I have is if you were a vacation, what would you be? I would be skiing.
Really, if I was a vacation, man, I would have to be the beach, man, with the puka shells. Like,
I,
has to be
that's
the
what I
beach.
was thinking.
I'm very tropical. The ocean is where I'm at. I love like warm waters. I grew up in Jakarta in Indonesia, so
Oh,
Bali was like my second home. Been there like a lot of times, so that's kind of like what I think of vacation and trying to go there like every year. So yeah, good question. I like that.
cool. Do you
Yeah,
surf?
I do. Yeah,
How
it's
is it?
nice.
Oh, that's
What is
cool.
that?
I was just gonna ask, like, how do you learn how to surf? That just seems weird.
So I'm really bad at sports. Let me just tell you that right now. Like I go to the gym and all that. Like I might look fit, but like I am the most unathletic person you'd meet. Like you give me a basketball, like it's a joke around my friends that I can't like shoot a basketball to the hoop, even though I'm like laying. I swear to God, that's why I don't play basketball with people. I only know sports for the sake of networking and conversations. That's it. And then like, uh, it took me like 4 months to actually stand on my board, and that's only for like 2 seconds. So like it took me a long time getting swallowed by waves. I thought I was gonna drown and die, but like it literally, I'm not a great swimmer as well. I remember like when I first learned how to surf was in college. I went to San Diego State. I
Oh
took a
wow,
surfing class. I took a semester of surfing class. Like this
nice.
class is gonna teach me how to surf. And I remember it was like I picked the most crowded time. There's only like 3 instructors. There's like 30 students, right? And so I was like, all right, I was on my board, whatnot. And the first day they had a test of like swimming from a pier and back.
Uh-huh.
And then like you have to also tread water for like uh, a minute or 2 minutes or whatnot.
Ooh.
And I was like, I never tread water for that long. I was like just trying to make it work. But for me, it's always been just like I just kept going.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. I was like, I made a commitment. I was like, I got a surfboard from Costco. Did like literally like every week I would try to make time on Fridays. That would be like after my internships at the time. I
Dude,
would like go out to the beach and just learn how to surf with some friends. So I was the last one that learned how to surf, but I kept going, and then that's been it. It's been like 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. So yeah,
nice. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
determination. You go.
that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's what everything's about. It's awesome.
Right?
It's
Exactly.
consistency.
It's
Determination.
like if talent is not on your side, make it up with hard work. That's my thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. My mom, so my dad is really good at a lot of things. Like he's very athletic. He's very musically inclined. And so my mom would say, "Oh my God, you're such a natural," and he's like, "No, I've been practicing since I was 4." I'm like, "Oh."
There you go.
I'm
That
like,
that that. Yeah, that's fun.
so how was that move? I had no idea that you weren't from the States. When did you come down here or come over here?
Yeah, so I moved to the States when I was 12, and that's in 2012. It's a December. So, took a flight from Jakarta to Los Angeles. Got there. I was like expecting, the Miley Cyrus entrance of like hop on a plane off LAX vibes. I remember it was the coldest I've ever felt because Jakarta is very humid, and
Oh
LA is not even that cold. It's not even snow, right?
yeah.
So it was cold for me. Yeah. So I moved that, and then my parents, they live in Bakersfield. If you know, where are you from again? Where are
I'm
you
from
based?
LA.
LA. Okay. Do you know Bakersfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bakersfield. It's like the one that we should not name, the city we should not name, right? So, yeah, it was kind of like I expected, the Hollywood sign, like stardom vibes. Like, oh, am I gonna see Brad Pitt when I'm walking or
Oh
Pitbull
my
or whatnot?
gosh.
So, I remember I took the car, ate my first McDonald's in the States, and then went 2 hours north. And I was like, where are we at in this farm town? And
Yes.
so, yeah, that's everything was so different. I remember I had like people were doing winter break that time, and I had like another week, so got to go around Bakersfield. So Bakersfield,
Oh,
but it was new. It was new to me. Everything is so different. When I went to school, like I didn't know. I remember the first time I went to class, people do like the what do you call the Pledge of Allegiance and stuff, and
oh
people just start
yeah.
standing up. I was like, what are people doing? I just sat down confused. I was like, don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna power through this. I didn't know how the classes work because like they do like periods right in here, like kind of you go through different classes. In
Yeah.
there, the teacher go to your class. You stay in one class.
Oh.
And the thing is, my mom, she didn't grow up here, so she doesn't know either. So it's like she's just kind of like put me in the deep end, just like figure it out. So I'm just like, well, that's it. So language barriers there. It's English my second language, so uh, we didn't speak English naturally in Indonesia. We learned it like how we learned Spanish here, but it's like when you go to Mexico, you'd be like, you know, "Donde está el baño?" type thing. So that's kind of how my English was. So yeah,
Wow. Dang. You're brave. Yeah, I remember, I mean, I'm obviously from here. When I was like 12, I remember getting exchange students, or maybe not exchange students, foreign students that would come and yeah, no English. They were Chinese. It was two Chinese girls, and I mean, that was weird, and like I couldn't really talk with them. And then I had one of them for a class in I think my junior or senior year of high school, and
yeah.
then she was totally like integrated with the whole culture and speaking English and slang, and I was just like, oh my god.
It's a skill set, man. People don't realize it. Like it's one thing knowing the language. It's second thing knowing the context of that language, which is
Yes.
what a slang is essentially is, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think it's either Japanese or Korean, or it was like it's one of those that they don't
yeah.
really sarcasm. And so I wonder
Mhm.
how some people come here and they're like, what?
Oh, it took me a long time to understand that. Funny story, actually. When people told me about what sarcasm is, I didn't know what a word means before, and I
Oh,
had to literally Google what is a sarcasm. Had to watch videos on what sarcasm is. Actually, I remember this exact moment. Like I was like, it's not. I mean, it is a thing, but it's a different type of sarcasm that we have in a different language. So yeah, I had to learn it all, like what they were talking about.
yay! Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Well,
yeah.
happy 11 years here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's been that. Yeah,
Right?
it's been 11 years. That's wild.
Crazy. Yeah, the other day I was thinking about I think something that happened to me when I was like 11. So it was like what, 12 years ago. I was like, "Oh my god, 12 years ago."
It's like
Whoa.
it's so different. I mean, the world is so different.
Yeah. And then I started thinking like, "Oh my god, I can think back to 12 years ago and I was alive 12." Like, whoa.
And now
Time.
you have like the newer generations with their own little trends and slangs and stuff, and you're like, wow.
I
Yeah.
wonder, I think it's a part of every generation to kind of look down on the next one, and I don't know why. But I think maybe it's just I feel like they're all little kids, even if they're a couple years younger. Like, you
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
I don't think it's looking down. It's more of like differences, you know?
Yeah.
It's like differences in the way you grew up, different you play different kind of games,
Yeah.
you have different sense of entertainment.
Mhm.
I think it's not from a looking down perspective, it's a more of like I didn't have that back then. You know what I mean? It's like it was not available to me back then.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of
Yeah.
people nowadays have TikTok, and even when I was in high school, TikTok wasn't too big. So once I got
Yeah.
out of it, then now people were like really into it. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it with the dances and stuff, and I feel so out of the loop.
but now you have to be in the loop because it's literally what makes up our society.
Uh, yeah, I mean, you must be so what do you do?
I know. What do I do? Dang, good question. Uh, so I have an agency. I have a marketing agency.
Mhm.
Uh, we work with a lot of personal brands to create content. So what that looks like is basically if you're a person and you have a business and you want to be the face of that business, you would then work with me and I'll basically create you a strategic plan on what we're going to do, what kind of videos we need to make, how we're going to say it, and we're going to edit all the videos for you and we're going to post all the videos for you. So that's basically the essence of that agency that I do.
Okay, so is that the same thing as like a marketing agency? Cause like Pineda Media kind of thing?
Yeah, so marketing is a very wide term, right? It's kind of saying like sports. That's what marketing is. It's like there's a lot of things. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for somebody that's not in marketing, it's a marketing agency. It's a type of marketing agency. Uh, so yeah, Pineda Media. Yeah, I like to say they kind of follow me because I started first before Pineda Media. So
Yeah.
let me just tell you that. But yeah, essentially, it's like growing organically through short form video content on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, and all the above.
Okay, yeah, so you're really in that space. How did you get into it?
Man, it's good questions. Good questions. I'm not, by the way, for all the viewers, I'm not prepared for these questions. So I started videography when I was 14. I remember when I first moved to the States, one of my discovered passion. I was very involved at school. I was like an ASB kid, if you have, student body
Nice.
kid. Yeah, so I was very involved, and I had the opportunity to work with them on their video team to create student news. So
Mhm.
not a lot of people ask me this question, but yeah, the first type of videos that I made was student news on my school. We never had it before, so I was like working with this other guy that kind of like quote unquote mentored me on how to use the camera and all that stuff, and I just loved it. I was like, this is super cool, and I grew up with like my parents here are low income, so they didn't have the money to buy a camera. So I had to borrow the school's camera to learn. So I used the school's camera to learn on YouTube, like, oh, what is this shutter speed and all this different stuff. Like, and again, it's like one of those things that I have to learn. Like, it's not like second nature to me. I was like I didn't fully understand what shutter speed and aperture, all these different like stuff,
Yeah.
right? But I was fascinated by the fact that you can tell a story.
Mhm.
So I know looking back, uh, when I was in Indonesia, we didn't speak English, right? But I did watch all the famous like Pixar movies, all the Toy
Oh,
Stories, the Monster Incs, all those different. Wall-E is my favorite. And
nice.
during that time, I didn't realize it back then when I was little, but even though I don't speak the language of English, and English was too fast on the subtitles for me to read because I was a
Mhm.
kid, I still understand the story behind it visually.
Oh, nice.
So that got me interested in like, so you're telling me if I'm creating an engaging enough visual story, I can break language barriers. And I think that's so powerful if you think about it that way,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's like you're like think about all these. I mean, now Pixar's are like awesome. Like they're very like you got like the Asian like stories now and all the Latin American stories. So they're very like. But back then I was like, there's like one set story, and it's like, but as a
Mhm.
kid, all over the world, you would understand it. So that concept just like very fascinated me. So
Yeah.
I decided that I wanted to make this my hobby and then start learning about it. Uh, I started like saving up money from my first job. I used to work at folding jeans at Hollister. So that's my first job. Folded jeans, saved the money, buy my first camera. It's like right here next to my bookcase.
Oh,
And once I bought my camera, I started learning more and started pitching that as a service. I started taking people's photos, prom photos, grad photos, and started giving them videos. And go college I go. I thought I was going to go the corporate route. I thought for sure, like I want to work for Disney. If you ask anybody when I was in college, I was like, that was my goal. I wanted to work for Disney.
ah.
Um, Still could. So if there's anybody here at Disney, like let me know. But I still continued that as a hobby, and I remember that was kind of always my upper edge at the time. So when I applied for internship, when I applied for my jobs in college, I got to work with that residential education office, which is basically their housing office at
Mhm.
SDSU. And when I tell them like I can do video, I showcase what I've done, they're like, dude, I want to create a position for you, because they know it's valuable. At the
Yeah.
time, I didn't know it was that valuable, but I was like, okay, I can pay for my own college. You know what I mean? Because I'm paying for
Mhm.
my own college. Is like, there's an extra money I can get for like food or
Wow.
other stuff that college
Yeah.
students do. But like, so I started just keep doing that. And my last year of college, basically, I used to write FAFSA throughout my entire journey,
Mhm.
but my FAFSA stopped coming. Basically, like it's one of those situations where like my parents like, oh, you made like an extra $3,000 this year because of overtime, and now you're not gonna get FAFSA. And I had two options at the time. I was working at a student loan company for
Mhm.
marketing, so I had two corporate experience working in marketing and paid ads marketing for brands. So at the time, I was like, I can work full time on these two jobs and
Mhm.
then barely make rent because San Diego's expensive, and that barely just covers rent. That means like I'm eating from like EBT foods, you know what I mean? Like I have to get like food stamps. Or two is I take out student loans, which I was working on student loans, and I'm not a math genius, but I know how much percentage goes, and I was like, 20% annualized, like out of 30,000 is a lot, you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't want that either. And I just thought to myself, like, okay, or I can create an option three, which is making a living out of this videography stuff.
Mm.
So I took out a credit card. Uh, at the time, I had like $500 in my bank account. Took out a $5,000 card. I don't know why Chase trusts me with $5,000,
Dude,
and
that's a
then it is a
lot.
lot. Actually, I was like, oh god, that's 5,000. So I bought myself a new camera. I bought myself a whole new gear. It cost me like I think $4,000 total, and I had the 12-month APR,
Mhm.
12-month 0% APR, and they're like, okay, like I told myself I have 12 months to pay this off.
Yep.
So I started networking, telling people about my services, kind of boots on the ground, like, hey, I'll take your whatever projects I could take. Network my way around there. Started working with a lot of real estate people in San Diego State, in
Mhm.
around San Diego, taking pictures and photos and videos of their events, their houses, and all that stuff.
Nice.
Network around there. They love my work. And uh, around 2022, when things slowed down in real estate space, because like at the time, like almost 90% of my clientele were in real estate, they
Mm.
were like, hey, we don't really need like $2,000 productions on our events because we're cutting on budgets, but we do need social media content. And
Mm.
so I was like, oh, interesting. So I came back to my marketing background. I was like, okay, so I've handled like social media marketing. I know how to do videos. I've seen how people do it, did my research, and kind of like learned my way through it. So that's where the agency was born in October of 2022. So that's
Ooh.
how, yeah, that's a
Ooh.
long story. Hopefully that wasn't too long, but yeah, that's a story.
No, that's very, very well timed. And it's been like a year now.
It is. So yeah, it's been a year. So it's we're still here. So we're going on year two.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
damn. That's pretty dang cool.
Thank you.
I do you know who I think it's Natalie Contreras. I think she's
Mm. She's in where?
anyway. She's in Austin. She's in Texas. But she's
You
our
mean
age.
Natalie Megan?
Megan, yeah,
Yeah, the green. Yeah.
yep, the green. The
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, you guys are like the same. All that I mean, just you work on the same things and you're
Yeah.
so young. And I'm like, oh my, you guys are awesome. What the
Similar.
heck?
She's awesome. I always tell her like she's like basically my green alter ego. So
That's so funny. I wonder if
yeah.
anybody will watch this and be like, green? Like what the
I know they'll research her. Like they'll make the joke will make sense then.
I know, it's so funny. You know what's interesting is so did you ever or like up, I guess, coming here or in Indonesia, would you watch a lot of YouTube videos? Like, was that a part of your day to day?
Wait,
Because
repeat the question one more time. I think your internet might be cutting out.
oh, sorry about that. So when you were in Indonesia or when you came over here, would you watch a lot of YouTube videos? Like, do you think that that was something that had kind of helped you in the space as well?
For sure. I think in Indonesia, I used to watch a lot of TV and cartoons
Mm.
because at the time we don't even have Wi-Fi. Uh, I mean, our family is not like they're poor, but they're like I'd say like low middle class in Jakarta. But Wi-Fi was just not a thing. I like to say like in a third world country, like it's always a generation behind when it comes to tech.
Mm.
So like when y'all have iPhones here, we're at BlackBerry over there. So it's kind of
Oh,
like it's one step behind, right? That's why it's a third world country. So I watched a lot of cartoons. That's why I get a lot of my sense of humor and the way I like usually I joke around. And when I get to the States, yeah, that's when I first discovered YouTube. And yeah, I used to watch a lot of it. They used to be my gateway, I guess, in a sense, of like this entertainment. Watch a lot of
Mhm.
the early YouTubers, Smosh, PewDiePie, all those different like gamers. Yeah, the classics, right?
Yep, the
Um,
classics.
what's also interesting, I remember this precisely. When I was in the 8th grade, I had this math teacher, and
Mhm,
I remember the first week of project, they were like, the project was imagine what you wanted to do. You have to draw a picture of what you wanted to do later in
mhm.
the future. Like typical like junior high school kids, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought basically you have this like little note card and you have to draw a picture of what it is, right? So I was like, took it home and I thought about it. I was like, what do I want to draw of this, right? And because I love YouTube so much, at least like the people there, I drew a YouTube logo on there, right? Because I was gonna tell people because you have to present it and stuff. They're like,
Mhm,
hey, I want to be able to be a YouTuber like one of these guys. And I remember like I did it and all that stuff, and I bring it to my mom. Classic traditional Asian mom, right? And I was like, "Hey, mom, what do you think about this project?" Like, I'm like just a YouTube logo. I want to be a YouTuber, right? I remember she told me like, "Sorry, mom," but she said like, "Oh no, you can't do that. Like that's not viable. That's not
yeah.
real. It's not real." I remember she was telling me that that's not real. So literally, like because of that, I literally like got a new card and I drew another profession, which at the time, when I was little, I wanted to be a pilot. That's my second dream. And I was like, I didn't know what else I wanted to do. And she was telling me like, oh, you should do like medical or you should do like engineering, like the Asian story. And I was like, those two doesn't sound interesting. So I'm just gonna draw a plane because I know I wanted to be a pilot when I was little. So it is interesting now looking back at it that like, it's like it's such a viable career nowadays. And but yeah, definitely watching YouTube have a huge impact to tie this back into your question.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. And it's not even necessarily that you're a YouTuber now, because it's like people are like, oh, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a YouTuber. And um, but it's like, wow, that there's a lot that goes into that. I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, even people that do like travel blogs or travel vlogs or they do, I think once you're in it, you realize add some kind of value. So it's like, okay, well, I'll give away my itinerary or I'll blah 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 blah. Um,
Well, I think the easiest thing, especially for the audience, like because the audience towards younger people, it's like I feel like there's this belief that it's not real money that you can make from
mm,
social media. Whereas I've met multiple, and I mean multiple in like numbers that I can even count with my own hands of people that make 6 or even 7-figure income using content.
wow.
And there's a lot of different ways to do it, right? We can get strategic, but like when just believing that it's possible and seeing how people have done it, now you're just gonna start asking the question of not of what if, but you're gonna ask how they did it, and that's the
Mhm.
right question. Because I've seen this thing. I was reading about this a while ago, not a while ago, like a couple weeks ago, that traditionally people think like when you start a business, there's probably like two types of business you can start: product
Mhm.
or service, right? Classic, right? Product or service. Product is basically I sell this deodorant, it's a product. I sell a service, hey, I do your lawn mowing, that's a service, right? But I think we're seeing two more uh, industries that came out of that, or like two more, uh, I guess, like branches out of that. So we have this product and services, and we have access, and we have content.
Mhm.
So it's not like it's new. It just hasn't been popularized. Access are like all your masterminds and all that stuff, like your private courses and all these different stuff. That's an access business, and it's not by any means revolutionary. People have done it for a long time. They call it country clubs back then. You know what I mean? So it's nothing
Yeah.
new. And content business is making money by creating, by getting attention and monetizing on those attention, right?
Mm,
And it's nothing by any chance new. That's what television and radio did. They just don't talk about it. It's just not as accessible then, but
mhm.
it's more accessible now because you have it all on your phone. So that's why I think it's very fascinating. And I think how a lot of people, especially younger people, can make 6-figure income by just posting videos of things that they love doing.
Dang, that's interesting. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the two.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
just blew your mind.
I kind of did. Like I really haven't looked into that yet. I'm to try to get into that sphere. And so for me, I just kind of assume that, you know, somewhere along the way, people are going to have some sort of course or some sort of something, some sort of product. But it's like, oh, yeah, YouTubers before they used to just make videos and that's how they would, get
Yeah.
paid.
Like if just for perspective, right? PewDiePie, like because your eyes light up when we talk about PewDiePie
Yep.
and Smosh. People think they're funny and they're stupid online,
Yep.
but they're making like 10 figures plus, or not 10 figures, sorry, $10 million plus on their content alone. Like they're multi-millionaires by making stupid videos on YouTube. So people don't realize that sometimes. Like, oh my god, this is so stupid. They can't be making money. But PewDiePie drives in like fucking like in the I don't want to curse, but like in sports cars. He drives. He lives in a big mansion up in I think London now. So like it's like it has been done, but a lot of people still refuse to believe that it's possible, which is I think part of my job as kind of the message that I'm trying to spread to people that it is possible.
That's so cool. So I guess in your expertise or as you're becoming more knowledgeable in this field, let's say somebody did want to start in this. Like what kind of steps, like how you're saying, oh, I can get strategics. Let's strategic. I want to know.
Right. So first is figure out who you are at
Mm,
first. So a lot of people want to go start making videos, but making videos step 5. So step 1, figure out yourself. What do you like to do? What are you passionate about? What gets you like just motivated to do stuff? Have you heard of the Japanese concept called ikigai?
no.
So find your ikigai. So ikigai, just like TLDR, is basically the intersection between things that you love doing, things you can get paid for, things that's good for the world, and things that would basically, I think one more is like be good for society or something like. There's like 5 different factors. Ikigai is like in the middle. If you can find that, figure that out first, right? Figure out who you are and what you like to do, and maybe it'll change. It can change
Mhm.
once you figure out what you want to do. Commit. Step 2 is commit. Commit
Mhm.
to like starting at a routine. And I would say at least if you're doing short form videos, commit to 30 videos a month. If you're doing YouTube, commit to once a week. Just commit. Like kind of like fitness, commit to doing that the possible. Hello? You're kind of lagging. Hopefully I'm not cutting out here. Um
Dang.
Hello?
Okay, I'm back.
You're back?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
you're
my
back.
internet. I mean,
You're
awful.
good. You're good.
Good.
You're
So
good.
last
You're
I
good.
heard was commit.
Commit. You're good. So commit. So if you're doing short form videos, commit to 30 a month. If you're doing long form YouTube or podcasts, commit to once a week at the very
Mhm.
least, posting wise. Right. If you want to do a live streaming, I'd say do it as many times as possible because people love live stream too. So you're on StreamYard. So commit.
Commit.
Once you know yourself, you commit, you then figure out what you want to talk about. And the easiest way to do that, just look back at the first step. Okay, you like doing this, create ideas. Go to ChatGPT, ask them about video ideas. Now it's very easy to find ideas. A
Yep.
lot of people always ask like, "What should I talk about?" But they've missed step 1 of figuring out who they are first.
Mhm.
So they're like, "I don't know what I'm talking about." Well, what do you want to talk about? Well, I don't know. Well, that's that's the first question. What do you want? What do you want to talk about? And what are you passionate about, right? So
Yeah.
that's boom. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Once you create the ideas, uh, depending on what kind of person you are, if it's a podcast, start booking people, emailing people. If it's a short form video, start writing your scripts.
Mm.
Just if you're going to YouTube, like to start to break down your videos, research other people on how they break down their videos, and start writing your script or whatever that looks like. Right. That's step. What are we on 3? No. So we have figure out yourself. We have committed. Step 3 is find video ideas. Step 4 is basically writing out your course of action on that video. So whether it's being like planning your guests, scripting, whatever that looks like. And step 5, you get started recording. Step 5, start recording. Just record it. Boom, done. Step 6, edit it. Now, you don't want to when you're going to a bakery, you're not expecting like them to give you the dough and tell you to like, hey, make this croissant at home. No, right? Do we want the croissant, right? You want the croissant. So like I don't want the dough. So like edit it. And if you have low budget, learn how to edit, at least on the basic level. I would go on YouTube and be like, how to edit on iMovie for beginners, easy. If you don't want to pay with money, pay with time. Or if you're high performing like entrepreneurs and very busy, outsource your editing. Go to agencies like me that make it super easy for you. Or if you want lower budgets, go to like Upwork or Fiverr. Edit those videos for you for a lower budget. Although for lower budgets, tend to do more work because you have to like give them directions, right? That's why we have agencies like mine. And the last thing you have to do is just post. That's it. 6 steps. Boom. So figure out who you are, figure out what you want, commit, make video ideas, have a course of action of that video, record it, edit it, post it.
Dang, that's good. That's a really good simple breakdown. Oh my gosh.
It's simple, but people fail in step 1, so it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I'm definitely a victim to, oh yeah, it's not easy, because when I was trying to start, I was like, okay, well, let me do short form. And right. I couldn't think of ideas to post, or I thought of the ideas, but I was like, okay, well, writing out a script now, what should I talk about? And it was just a lot. And after a while, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me right now. Like, okay, let's see what other avenue I could go down. And I like this podcast, and I'm just starting it, but it's fun because I get to talk to so many people. So it's like, hey.
Yeah, this is usually a good place to start for a lot of people because it's more of a conversational base. It's not more of like produced, so it feels more natural. I think having the end in mind, it would be helpful. So, when I was first started making content, like, mind you, I was always behind the camera. I never been the person in front of the camera.
Yeah.
It was tough. I remember it was October of last year when I started. Like, I hired my first editor. I paid them a lot of money at the time, and I was like, well, like, I need to be in front of the camera. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I started thinking about, okay, what do I want the end in mind? And for the time, I want the people to realize the importance of social media. Okay, I'm just going to talk about that for now. And I started adding things, and okay, let's add some tips and tricks. Okay, let's add some quick guides. Let's add some common misconceptions. Let's add now like interviewing people at like conferences. So it's kind of adds over time, but it's if you just pick a lane and just kind of continue and commit to that lane and then eventually build upon that skill set, you'll be able to stack that skills very quickly.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Thank you.
I'm so glad this is recorded because I'm going to go back and like take notes.
What you can do is if you want to like 10x it, you take the transcription. I don't know if StreamYard does it, but you can like get the transcription, everything that we said, put it into ChatGPT and be like, yo, give me like 10 notes, 10 key points about content that we talked about in this episode.
Dang.
Done in like 10 seconds. If you want 100x it, you would take that notes, tell it to be like, make 3 blogs with a intro body, 2 body paragraphs, and an outro about this. Now you have a blog from this one podcast.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Man, so you're really utilizing AI as well.
Of course. It's like no wasted content, no content left behind, because like you're already taking the time, the hour and a half that we're going to talk. Why not use it all to the best of its capabilities?
Dang. So do you do blogs as well? Like,
That's the next step. So right now I've been focusing for shorts for the past like 10 months. And right now it's run on pretty much automatic. I actually need to script today because I need to script some videos. This is my plan. And then once what was I saying? Once I script the videos, everything started run smoothly. We're actually doing YouTube too now. So I've been recording some YouTube. Another quick hack here is you compile it. So you batch record the content. So I record it in terms of 4 videos. And when I have 8, I'm going to start releasing them.
Okay.
So I record basically 2 sessions a month, 4 videos each, and then in that video, send it to an editor, get them edited and all that different stuff. And then that way I have like consistent 8 weeks of content. That way it seems like I'm consistent, right? But I'm like, basically I have an 8-week window when it comes to
Mhm.
content. Whatever happens, you get sick, you get family, whatever, right? So YouTube's on the works. I'm actually also starting my own podcast as well. So I did have my podcast like earlier the year, but at the beginning of the year, I just didn't like. I need to find an avenue where I could grow fastest, and
Yeah.
I found that to be short form videos, and
Yeah.
that's also a hack too. So right now, by the end of October, start my first releasing out here, because this also another quick hack is when you're trying to commit to content, tell people that you're gonna commit, because now your name's on the line.
Yeah. You're being
And now
held.
I'm putting my name on the line that's saying I'm gonna start like recording my podcast again by the end of October. So
Mhm.
I would love for you to have that be on that. So when you have those podcasts and all those different YouTube videos, then I do have already have the process. I just need to actually create the top, and then it'll be able to follow the process for that. But yes, that's in the works. The blogs.
Good job. You go. Yeah, and people that have been watching lately, I've just been really into watching Alex and Layla Hormozy.
Oh, they're amazing. There's some of
God.
my I listen to them every day, like
Every day.
literally almost every day.
They're so inspiring. They remind me of my dad because my dad's very like um guy, and he's like, just do it, like
Yeah,
just do this, blah, blah, blah. And like, okay, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I feel like that's how they are too. And with my dad, he doesn't necessarily say like you don't feel emotions, but sometimes he's like, okay, well, are the emotions you're feeling right now useful? If they're not, then get over it, or like try to get over it or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And so anyways, that was kind of a tangent.
I love that, because kind of tying this up, right? Kind of. So a lot of people ask me, "Hey, like Brent, how do I find my voice?" Right?
Hmm.
People like, like I don't want to copy someone else, right? I want to have my own voice. And the first step of having your own voice is looking up to your mentors and kind of like following that voice. So if you see a lot of my content, they're kind of like a mix between the Pineda, the Hormozy, the
Yeah.
pace. That's kind of the tonality that I approach. And then I love how you said there, you're like, they don't just, you were like, my dad wouldn't say like just disregard all emotions, but
Mhm.
kind of ask. So that's adding your touch into the voice, and that's what's gonna make your own voice. That's how
Mhm.
you find your voice on social media. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that makes total sense because you don't really know where to go from. Like you need some sort of template, and then from there you'll start adding your own things.
Right. It's like
Um,
that quote, like was it by Picasso? Is good artist copy, great artist steal, right? Don't know if you
oh,
heard that one. Yeah. Because if you think about it, like great art, like it's just the good artists would just straight up copy, but like the great artists would like basically steal their idea, add their own stuff, and make it better. Yeah.
that's so funny. I've never heard of that quote.
Yeah. There you go, Picasso, my man from like the 1600s.
Oh my gosh. I think he was from like the 1900s. Like I think he didn't like he was alive not too long ago, which is also weird.
I
Timing
don't.
for
I don't think so. Really?
Picasso. Yeah, Pablo Picasso. I'm pretty sure.
I'm a fact check this right now.
Do this right now. I'm pretty sure he was alive in like the 50s.
No, not the 1950s.
Yeah.
1881.
Oh,
So
never mind.
1800s. He died in 73. So you are kind of right. So he was technically alive in the 50s. Yeah, actually you are right. There you go.
Okay, I didn't realize it was 1881 was when he was born. That was
Yeah.
damn. That's crazy.
But yeah, crazy.
I wish I could. It'd be so awesome. What fascinates me is just how cameras work. How are we seeing each other right now? I keep seeing like memes of like someone taking a picture of a river, and they're like, "How did Wi-Fi come from this?" It's just like what. But man,
Yeah.
it would have been so cool if we had this technology back then. Like, how does Picasso really look like? Or I mean, we probably know. They probably have pictures now. But like, how did Leonardo da Vinci look like? That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I know. It's like, but it's so fascinating. I had this conversation with some of my friends yesterday. We just like kind of off the tangent, just like I was like, we've been doing business all this, talk about something just like completely random, right? So
Yeah.
my friends has been studying a lot of astrophysics, right?
Okay.
So I was just like, poking questions, like, because that's me, I'm a very curious kind of guy. So I
Hmm.
was like, hey, I want to poke questions on this. And just imagining this, right? Because if you live at a star, kind of like say a couple of 100,000 light years away, you would see Earth back in like back then, like
Yeah.
dinosaurs age,
Yeah. Like
right?
dinosaur.
Right. So technically, like if it's possible to recapture that light of where that like that thing's going, you'd be able to see into the past and what that looks like. I was like, crazy. I was like, just blowing my head. I was like, all right. I was like, talking about other things too, but yeah.
Yeah, but that, oh my God, yeah, that's like a kind of time travel. If we could, or if they could,
Right.
all
Or even
far.
seeing what it's like. Because if you believe like in matters and energy in the universe, right? Everything is emitted in energy. So how do you
Yep.
find that wavelength from that far out? Interesting, huh?
Ah, I love this. Things are so weird, just in general. Like, oh my God, yeah, going into energies and like, have you ever been thinking about a certain song or a certain video or something, and then like the next week somebody brings it up, and you're like, oh my God, and like it's not something popular. Um, anyways, that's happened before, where
Yeah.
it wigs me out because I'm like, I was just thinking about, and it's not even like you talk about it because nowadays if you're talking about something by your phone, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting all these pop-ups, but it's like, no, it was thinking about it, and now it's here. What the heck?
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Go on.
No, you're good.
A little off topic. So I know that now you're recording and doing a bunch of stuff for a bunch of real estate people. Do you feel like that's a field that you'd want to go into at all? Or does it ever like tempt you, like the shiny object syndrome? Or are you like, no, I'm really focused and I really am kind of passionate and enthusiastic about this whole marketing video stuff?
Yeah, good question. I know that I'm probably gonna. I would love to get into real estate, at least in the owning side and the investing side. Um, as far as focus goes, I think focusing on the business side, I'm way more passionate about doing that instead of me like looking for deals or all that stuff. At least for now, I just find it fascinating when building a business. It's kind of like I don't know if it's harder than doing real estate, but that challenge, it's like a lot more avenues you can do to make something that's impactful. I guess that's my thing, because when you're building a business, you're solving a problem. You're solving somebody else's problem,
Mhm,
right? In exchange for really good return too, which
mhm.
is like that's the risk that you're taking. So as far as real estate goes, I know that I will own real estate, and that's why I'm learning about it, and that's why a lot of people that I help is in real estate, so that way I can connect it and get people there, bring
Smart.
value, and but I really do think the business is going to be my capital generator. It businesses like print cash. You don't have to wait 3 or 4 years. The paychecks is less than like a one like refinancing type
Mhm.
of check, but I think it's something that at least I enjoy, and it gives me the flexibility to at least now to be wherever to work. Like, I was in Colombia for 3 weeks, like back during the summer, and I was still working from there, like being able to work with my clients and all that, as long as I have good Wi-Fi. So
Mhm.
uh, having that time and location freedom, I think it's huge. So yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. I was like literally, I remember I was in Medellin, and we got this Airbnb. It was a price of like a hotel room here in San Diego. It was like $80 or $90. Actually, no, it's less than that per person. We had like four of my college friends went, and I don't know if you know, but Medellin is like this. People think it's all bad and dangerous and all that. Well, there are some dangerous spots, but
Yeah.
it's a huge valley. It's like a mountainous range, and the Airbnb sits on like the very top of like floor like 8 on this like you can overlook the whole valley. Like if you scroll down enough on my page, you can see uh all the views are just absolutely gorgeous. Like there, the
Oh
people
my
are super nice, and experiencing that is, I think, it's like what drives me forward. Like I love learning cultures, coming from a different culture. I think part of the reason why I make content, and I will do this, like I would love to create like a travel documentary page where I would just go around to different countries and, you know, try out their foods, tell them about their cultures and all different stuff. So
That's so cool.
I know that was kind of off to answer to your question, but like, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I really like that. I had the opportunity to go to Korea. I had studied abroad there for a semester, and yeah, it
Nice.
was just fascinating. It was really interesting because I felt like because I had gone to Seoul, so it's
Yeah.
very developed and it's kind of like LA. So I was like, okay, well, there wasn't a huge culture shock, but then it was just always really interesting to learn more about the different cultures and like, oh, okay, so anyways, it's really interesting. And
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm even just going to different states, but it's really cool to see how different states have their own kind of quirks to them and their own people that interact in a certain way. And yeah, it started getting me really interested in traveling more as well.
It's really awesome. I mean, it's you know, it I think if anything it brings perspective,
Hmm.
right? Cuz it's like, oh, what do people do in like Nebraska? Like, how do people have fun there? You know,
Yeah.
people we like to put people in buckets sometimes because our mind can't comprehend all those information. And I feel like living that experience, or not even, you know, just at least seeing that experience firsthand will give you a better thought and outlook. And I think it'll make you a more well-rounded person anyways when you're like, you know,
Yeah.
making decisions, and especially going back to business. Like, well, the people in Spain take breaks from like 3 to 4 o'clock
Hmm.
every day, and they still get their stuff done. So how do they do that? How can we make that possible?
Yep.
People in London, they starting to adopt the 4 day work week. How does that work? How are they so productive? What do they do differently? You wouldn't be able to get that if you're kind of ignorant on how other people live, right? So yeah,
Oh, damn, that's a good way to put it.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing some comic or something where um
Where did you
like
go to college, by the way?
Castle
Where's that?
over here in Los Angeles
Oh,
is
okay.
yeah, because you went to SDSU.
San Diego State. Yeah.
Yeah, San Diego State. Yeah,
Wait,
I
what is the name of the college again? Sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit.
my bad. Cal State LA.
Oh, CSULA. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
So it's like 5 minutes up from me, so it
Oh,
was kind of
nice.
easy. I did not graduate. Did you graduate, by the way?
I did last year,
Nice.
2022.
Congratulations.
Thank
Woo.
you. Are you still going through it, or did you drop out?
No, I totally left.
Okay.
I like to call it a break
Mm.
because we'll see if I go back. But I was going for mechanical engineering. So
That's awesome. That's sick.
thanks. I mean, I didn't finish, so we'll see. But I have some knowledge. I mean, I just felt like everything that I was learning was very theoretical, and
Mm,
I don't. It's while it's really interesting to learn about theoretical stuff, um, I don't know how to put that into practice. Like I want something more practical. And so
mm.
that's why I took a break. I mean, that was one of the reasons, one of the main reasons why I took a break from it. Um,
And
yeah,
how far are you into it?
I was like a junior, so I'm not that
Oh,
far.
you're not even that bad. Yeah, that's like you're almost crossing the finish line. You're like mile 2022 right now, you know, out of the marathon, you know?
Yeah, so really I can do it. Like I we'll see in the future.
Yeah.
Because it did come with a lot of like general education kind of classes that were interesting as well. So like you would have to I'm pretty sure if I took a welding class, it would count towards some kind of credits, which is
Mm.
really interesting. But yeah. Oh,
I think
college.
it's awesome though with college, like at least, you know, a lot of people I feel like nowadays, like, oh, you don't need to go and all that stuff. And, you know, I think my perspective definitely have changed of whether or not it's necessary to go. I don't think it's necessary to go. I think you can find all the different cool stuff to do, like real estate, creative financing, all the fun stuff Pace Morby's doing.
Mhm.
But I do think like sometimes the knowledge you never know where you're gonna use them. I think that's kind of the surprise. You know what I mean? Like I remember I would. So one of my biggest regrets in college was not paying attention in accounting because I hated it. I was an international business major. I came in as civil engineering. Fun fact: I actually had to
Wow.
move to international business because I didn't like engineering. But like, I remember I took that class during COVID, or before COVID, and I was like, nah, everything's online. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like Google my way through it.
Yeah.
And now I didn't know I was gonna own a business. Now I own a business. I have to relearn accounting. I was like, man,
Yeah.
if I had just taken better notes, I would have been able to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm pretty sure that because that's how I felt with when I was taking statistics. I haven't used
Mhm.
statistics yet, but I started to want to do more research in just different avenues of stuff. And now I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to take this whole class again. And that's where I think that the school system fails people a little bit,
Mhm.
because it's just come into something that's so it's become like I think when you were taking general education, it was supposed to be, actually general education, and it's like, okay, well, why do we even have those credits in the first place? Like, why are they mandatory? And I think it's
Right.
because back then you were trying to be more they were trying to make more well-rounded students, and so they would take like the humanities and like actually um, teach people how to, when they were in English classes or writing classes, it's like you actually learn how to write down your thoughts. And I just don't think that that's really uh, important anymore. And now it's just kind of gen ed, take Korean or take whatever, like offensive,
Right.
and it's just kind of like takes up space now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't appreciate that. I liked it when, yeah, it had a meaning. I like things that have meanings. I like things, I don't, yeah, it stresses me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I'm sure you're a busy guy and we've been like here for an hour, so I'll let you head out. But yeah, thank you for coming. I really enjoy your perspective on a lot of different things, not just, your career wise, but I love how you were breaking down how to, why you even got into this whole thing, whereas you were saying that you can kind of go past language barriers if you tell a good story visually. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly. I mean, a lot of kids, I think one of my family members was saying that they would not pay attention to a movie before when they're younger. They're like 6 and they would watch like Shrek or something and they had no
Yeah,
idea what was going on, but they kind of did because of the storyline and how they like just make different facial expressions. So that's just really interesting, like a really interesting avenue for you to go down. So you got this. That's awesome. Go
thank
Brandon.
you. I thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I know I'm excited to just see everybody grow, and I think especially when you're in your younger phase, it sometimes you have this feeling of like, at least for me, I do like, oh, I'm not good enough to walk into that room, or I'm not like I don't have like 800 doors to talk to these people.
Hmm.
Whereas in reality, I think it's about just showing up and actually just being able to present your best self, which is, I think, can go a long way. So
Oh,
I love doing this. This is awesome. If you ever want me to come in again, always let me know. I would be happy
oh,
to.
100%. Because I have a lot more questions that are scrambling in my mind right now that I can't put
Yeah,
into words.
I know, because it's like a first time technically like literally talking for like an
Yeah.
hour. So it's probably like, oh shoot, like
Yeah. So we're going to come back again because I do want to talk about that, like how it feels to be in these rooms as like a younger 20-year-old and not having experience in these fields before as well. Because I mean, your parents, I'm assuming, weren't in this field. My parents aren't in this kind of social media field or doing any of this as well. So it's kind of like super new, and you do definitely get that. Like I guess people are saying imposter syndrome, and
right,
for me, I get really intimidated, and yeah, it's a lot. So I'd love to hear your perspective again sometime.
for sure. Just let me know when. In
Heck
the
yeah,
books.
cool. Well, thank you,
Alrighty.
Brandon. Where can everybody find you?
It's pretty simple. My Instagram is brandon.fortino. You'll see the red jacket. It's everywhere. It's Brandon Fortino is the name. TikTok, the same handle. LinkedIn, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, connect me on LinkedIn. YouTube, same thing, at Brandon Fortino with the red jacket. You'll see it. So I try to make it very easy.
Nice. Brandon Fortino with the red jacket.
It's good
Awesome.
enough that it's awesome that, I mean, at least you two, like, I feel like we have names that are not very common. That
Mhm.
way, like, we got our username, you know? I mean, we got our handle that we want.
I don't even have to have the dot. Mine is just Jada Tholey. I was so lucky. Oh my gosh.
That's good. That's good. Of
Well, cool. Thank you so much, Brandon. You
course,
have
Jada.
a fantastic and productive day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah.